Alright, so this is the Kingdom Hearts 3 complaints video. Hi everybody. That's a great intro. Anyway, so really the first one on my list is Radiant Gardens and Destiny Islands not being playable. More so Radiant Gardens than Destiny Islands. As we all know, Destiny Islands hasn't been playable in many games. Radiant Gardens was so integral to the first and second game that I thought for sure it should have been a playable world in the third game. It wasn't. And I feel like that was a huge mistake, considering there were so many damn cutscenes that took place in that world. But I mean, kind of like at the thing with Destiny Islands is I didn't really care if it was a big playable world or not. Radiant Gardens I did, because I thought they could have expanded on it so much, and two. But Destiny Islands, at most, I was at least hoping for like kind of like an end post tiny section. But I didn't get that. No tournaments at Olympus. There's another point about this world I'll get to later, but the no tournaments thing is, why weren't there any tournaments? That felt like such a hole in that world, because that world always had tournaments. And they were always fun. To a degree, I enjoyed the first games a little more than the second games because I didn't really mess with the second games very much. But it is what it is, I guess. But that felt disappointing that there wasn't a tournament or tournaments in Olympus in the game. Oh yeah, Twilight Town just feels massively incomplete. There's so many areas missing in that game. Like, you can't go to the struggle spot, the usual spot, the train station tower, that little area between the train station tower, the Seven Wonders area. They didn't expand on it at all. I mean, this underground little section, you couldn't even go into the mansion. They literally stripped Twilight Town to just basic areas. I don't know. Twilight Town was just a massive disappointment in the game. I mean, the design, the redesigns for the characters look cool, like outfit wise. But Twilight Town is just a massive disappointment. This I made before I got to the end of the game. But it still stands. Personal point, but I wish there was definitely more Riku playtime. You could even make Radiant Garden a Riku exclusive explorable world just to get it in there. And that's true. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Riku, so I want him in there as much as possible. Like, you could have made Radiant Garden an explorable world for him. Like, a Radiant Garden in the Dark World. Isn't that what they labeled it in 0.2? I don't know. They could have made those two worlds Riku and Mickey exclusive. But they didn't, and I just felt like a massive tease almost, because you do two boss fights with him, right? And then you do, okay, I guess I should say massive spoiler alerts in this video. And you do one as Aqua, but there's just not enough of like Riku controllability, because what you do get of him, it's not satisfying enough. It leaves you wanting more, and that's not good. This is just another personal thing, because I know a lot of people love the gummy section, but I can't get into it. I really can't. I just tried to get in and out as fast as possible. I just didn't really care for it. I mean, I like the flying, and it was pretty free roam, but you had encounter rail fights with the enemies, and I didn't like that. I mean, yeah, the exploration is a lot better than the combat, and it's a giant step back. Yeah, the combat's a giant step back. Plus, those forced boss gummy battles are the things I dread. Oh yeah, here's the other part of the Coliseum thing I was talking about. What was the point in taking out Coliseum in the Olympus world name? I just don't like it when worlds that previously appeared getting its name changed, like the Grid and Caribbean. Why not have those names in the first place instead of Space Paranoids or and Port Royal. The only exception to this is Hollow Bastion and Land of Departure, so I guess mostly focuses on the Disney worlds changing their name for no reason, because that is the stupidest shit. What is the point of changing it from Olympus Coliseum to Olympus? Maybe it's because they took tournaments out. I don't know. Stupid. I honestly have no issues with the normal person gameplay and how the Disney stories are told within their worlds. So that's actually something positive. And what I mean by here is like his normal gameplay. Like it's a little more basic than Kingdom Hearts 2 in some ways, and like the Keyblade transformations and all that. I have no issues with the gameplay. The gameplay is fine. The gameplay is great. It is fun, and that's all it needs to be. But I don't know. There's just stuff that's missing from the game that I feel like would have made it more complete, because they were in the first and second game, which made them feel important to be in the third game, like tournaments in Olympus Coliseum and Radiant Garden being there as a physical world to roam and be. Potentially, I said potentially because, like I said, I wrote this before I beat the game, and yeah, there's no potentially about it. It's true. The lack of important Final Fantasy characters. If Pete and Maleficent are still mucking about, Merlin's still in training and providing 100 Acre Woods, which is another thing we'll get to. Yen, Sid, Mickey, and gang still there. Why can't Leon, Yuffie, Sid, Aerith, as well to a lesser degree Cloud and Tifa be present? I've always seen Leon and Yuffie to be important characters in Kingdom Hearts, not to mention Tidus, Wakka, and Selphie making up Destiny Island inhabitants. The trio of mercenaries, Yuna, Riku, and Pain I can understand not appearing. Then of course there's the missing Sephiroth's secret boss battle. Some Final Fantasy characters are pretty involved in the plot, which makes their absence frustrating, especially seeing as the Battle of Bailey was very Final Fantasy heavy, very integral to the plot in the second game. I'm gonna leave that where it is. Final Fantasy characters should have been in the game. 100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They should have been in the game. You made them important to the story, and with them not appearing in any way, shape, or form, or being mentioned in any way, shape, or form, it just leaves a hole that needs to be answered. Oh yeah, his 100 Acre Woods feels really shoehorned in and underdeveloped in this game. But I can get what it served, as Sora realized his bonds weakened after being consumed by Xehanort at the end of Dream Drop Distance. That being said, it was really disappointing that and no Eeyore was a big bummer. Also, where was Rue's mom, Kanga, and Owl? It just felt like there was much more that could have been done with 100 Acre Woods. Why change the formula of something that worked pretty well? The whole page system, finding 5 pages, doing 5 visits in the world instead of one short visit with 3 mini games. I don't understand. It literally felt like it didn't belong, because it was so short and just unimportant. It didn't make it feel important. Like I said, it felt shoehorned in. And after that, I can see everyone's complaints about the Caribbean being too big for its own good. I feel like everyone over-exaggerated the extent of its annoyance, especially with the 500 crabs thing. They only made you do that once. And you can find all of them in the Port Royal Island. It's not that bad unless you want to collect all 56 treasure chests and 13 lucky emblems. San Francisco has a similar issue with 36 treasure chests and 11 lucky emblems, hunting to a lesser degree. Especially that one, so more so because it's got the night and day dynamic to it. So it kind of evens out, I guess, with Caribbean's vastly larger area map. And the other thing was like, people was like, something about a map. But it's like, you can see the map, you just have to go to the ship and sail to see it. Frozen was just weird to me and felt tampered with. Like, it's fine at face value, aside from being forced to climb the damn mountain 3 times. It really does feel like Square had a different idea that Disney stopped. I mean, this was like a video somebody posted a long time ago, or not really that long ago. The game's only been out for 6 months, roughly. But yeah, it really did feel like Disney or Square had a different idea going with Elsa, and then Disney kind of stopped it, and then forced them to change gears a little bit. Because Hans did felt shoehorned in at the end, but that's just another thing. I honestly have no issues with Olympus aside from two things I mentioned above. Tangled was fine, Toy Box was good, Monstropolis was good, and San Francisco is probably my favorite Disney World in the whole game. Alright, from all aspects. Like I said, Frozen was still fine, but it felt weird and off. My next point is I wish they could have just let Riku and King Mickey save Aqua instead of shoehorning Sora in. I get it, he's the hero, but I don't think he should have to do all the work. Makes him more of a Mary Sue than he already is, or than he already seems. I was so hyped for Riku versus Aqua fight, only to be let down with Sora versus Aqua. Yeah. I really wanted Riku and Mickey to save her, because it just made more sense story-wise. And then they shoehorned Sora in there because he's the hero and he's got to save her. No, like, Sora's a fine character and everything, but I just don't like how he has to do everything, making everybody else look or seem incompetent by comparison. I just don't like that. Personal point, but I wish you could have explored Castle Oblivion on the way to Ventus instead of bringing back Land of Departure, which is a world I never cared for, really. Like, I understand that it had to happen, to change it back to Land of Departure, but I wish you could have found Ventus through some kind of maze-like thing in Castle Oblivion. And then once you find him, you bring him back awake, you fight Vanitas, and then after you save him, you leave, and then Aqua changes it back to the Land of Departure. I would have been fine with that. But I can understand doing it beforehand first. I'm just not excited about Land of Departure being back because I just never liked the world. The Keyblades in this game are disappointing. And I mean like the amount of them. Not the designs of the ones that are already there, because I love the Keyblades in this game. But I'm underwhelmed by the amount of Keyblades that are in the game. Because, I mean, you don't have many extra ones. Like, you don't have Oathkeeper or Oblivion. And we're not getting Oathkeeper until this winter, whenever Remind comes out. It should have been in the game to begin with. Same thing with Oblivion. They're integral Keyblades to the game's lore, and they're just fan favorites. You gotta bring them back. Or the Final Fantasy inspired ones. Just feels like a letdown compared to previous number of installments. The Aqua's Vanitas boss fight was a really nice surprise. I didn't see it coming, but I'm glad it did happen. That's true. I'm really glad that boss fight happened. Just like Radiant Garden missing, it's a shame Land of Departure isn't more explorable after the whole ordeal with Vanitas, or the main game for that matter. That's true. As much as I don't like Land of Departure, I wish they would have opened it up a little more than they did. Just walk down a hallway, go up to the main hall where they're doing the master exams and the Birth by Sleep game. You fight Vanitas and that's it. The Classic Kingdom games just aren't my cup of tea. I just don't care for them. If you like them, good for you. I just can't get into them. The game feels easier than Kingdom Hearts 2. Even I'm proud of it, the game feels easier than Kingdom Hearts 2. Like, the only time I felt stressed in that entire game, there was a couple boss fights that got me, and there was the only one that really, really made me feel stressful was Xehanort and that Armored. Once you go to I forget the name of the world. It's what everybody dubbed the GOAT Xehanort. And that boss fight, the second to last one, yeah, he stressed me out big time. Yeah, that is my next point. Armored Xehanort to me was the hardest boss in the game, excluding the secret boss, which I have a Fox. I don't really care to. The final boss just has that one tough moment when you're forced into rage mode because you can't heal and are barraged at the start of the third stage. Yeah. Otherwise, it's a fantastic moment. Fantastic scenes and everything. The action cutscenes in this game are top notch and the best series I've ever seen. Done. Period. The Keyblade action in this game, best you're ever gonna get in the series right now. The Keyblade Graveyard, I wish you could have fought some of the bosses with characters who had stronger ties to them than Sora does. For examples, Riku with Ansem, Ventus with Vanitas, Aqua with Terranor, so forth and so forth. Like, those kind of things. Just characters who had stronger tie to an antagonist, you fight them with that character. Instead of just shoehorning Sora in to save the day 24/7. It's my biggest issue with Kingdom Hearts in general. Shoehorning Sora in there when he doesn't need to be. Like, you already have Riku as a playable character in the Dark World. Why bring Sora in there and make Riku seem incompetent? I don't like that. Here's hoping the DLC fixes some of these problems, like a complete 100 Acre Woods, but more importantly, Final Fantasy characters show up. And so far, it doesn't look like the complete 100 Acre Woods is going to happen. Maybe Final Fantasy characters, but we're going to have to wait to see for future DLC, because Remind just seems to be, I don't know. They're going to make Riku more playable, Aqua more playable, and Roxas more playable, but those seem to be just rehashed boss fights from the from the Keyblade Graveyard maze, from when you're doing all those 3-on-3, 3-on-2, 3-on-4, whatever the boss groups things. But yeah, those are pretty much all my complaints with Kingdom Hearts 3. It's a really great game. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, you'll love it no matter what. You'll love it to death no matter what. Will you enjoy it as much as Kingdom Hearts 2? That is up to you. To me, it feels like it's missing one too many things to feel like the actual complete package. So there's that. But I still enjoyed the hell out of the game, and it is amazing, and it's definitely in my top 3 favorite games, just because of how well the action is done in the game. The worlds are pretty great. It's just some big things missing, like no Radiant Garden being playable, the Riku and Aqua and third-party characters boss fights don't mean much in the grand scheme of things, or do much to impact the story going forward. Especially Riku's too. Like, his Aqua boss fight gets undermined by Sora's. So Aqua's boss fight means more than Riku's. Both of Riku's fights come on. It's a shame. Either way, that's going to be it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you thought of Kingdom Hearts 3. Give the video a like, comment below, that'd be super special, awesome. Subscribe if you haven't, that'd really me out, and ta-ta for now.